As I think about our neighborhood and our city and people around Spartanburg and America as they get ready to celebrate Mother's Day, I think about my Mother's Day story, and it's hard not to think about the journey that we've been on when I talk about Mother's Day. My first Mother's Day, I was pregnant with our first child, and we didn't know at the time what we were having. We were just excited and felt very blessed and felt like it was God's timing. And shortly after that, we found out through a routine ultrasound that our child would not survive, that she had a lethal form of dwarfism. It was just something that happened, and that she would probably not survive birth. And so I spent the next 3 months carrying her, knowing that we would lose her. And Jack and I really tried to immediately, from the time we found out, turn her back over to God and know that she was a gift and that she was entrusted to us. We did find out it was a girl, and we decided immediately to name her. We named her Grace so that we could pray for her specifically and ask others to pray. As we continue to share our news about Grace, God continually put women and people in our church in our path that gave us guidance and gave us love and hope. And we had a lot of people praying for us through that whole journey. And they would come up and share scriptures. And I had one mom in particular at a Chick-fil-A who had heard our story, came up, recognized me, and she said, I just want to share with you, I got a similar diagnosis for my daughter, and God laid the verse on my heart, is anything too hard for the Lord? And as I continued to pray through that verse, I journaled, I talked to God. One day he spoke to me audibly, and he said, Christina, it's not too hard for me to heal Grace, but it's also not too hard for me to heal you and Jack. And that was then, from then on, the verse in Genesis where he said, is anything too hard for the Lord? I knew at that time that it was going to be hard, and God gives us all our own kind of hard at different times in life, but that he was going to heal us and minister us. We continue to pray through the loss of Grace, through her service that we had for her on 9/11, which is a whole nother reality, that on this day in history that everyone remembers when the world seemed to stop turning, that we were giving birth to our daughter and losing her. And I do not think God's plan is lost on that detail at all. I believe that he knew exactly what he wanted for that to be her birthday, and for that to be the day that we would remember and that people would remember. But we had her on that day, and so as we all struggled to find hope and move forward, we just continued to pray and pray for God's plan. And we knew he had a plan through the whole process, but we also pray that people would see God's hand in our lives and see his love and his mercy and his grace, and that he would see his blessing on us being obedient and giving her to him and trusting her with him. And the next year, when we felt like it was time to maybe try again to have another baby, we went for the first ultrasound, and the technologist said, oh, look, there's another critter. And I'm like, no, there shouldn't be another critter. And of course I started crying out of fear, but my sweet husband started crying out of just thankfulness. And he said, that's exactly what I prayed for, that God would bless us with twins so that others would see his blessing. And I'm so thankful that I was expecting twin boys. You know, if you were to ask me what Mother's Day means to me as far as our journey and our story, I would say God is faithful, and he's faithful to bring you through it. He is faithful in his word. While there is sadness, he has healed us in so many ways. Yes, it is true. It wasn't too hard for him to heal Grace, but it wasn't too hard for him to heal me. And the greatest joy that I have is that even in the heartache and the hurt of having to bury your child, having to lose your child, that God continues to use it, that He continues to use it to reach others, and that has been our prayer. But also, this is what I would say to you. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Him, and I know that I'm going to get to see Him someday. But also, because I believe in Him, and I'm going to get to see Him, I'm also going to get to see grace. And so you can go forward with that knowledge that you're going to be able to not only be reunited with family members and be in the presence of Jesus, but that He is faithful to bring you all back together someday.